his own defense mechanism, and that may be why this works in some of the skin cancers we used it on. I've gone from a year and a half or so ago of pure and total skepticism to moderate excitement. It's kind of hard for somebody who has a scientific background and maintains veterinary practice, tries to maintain a current growing veterinary practice, to become very excited about some compound that's brought in off the street. You really don't want to put yourself in the classification of a witch doctor, and so you think more of yourself and you think more of your clients than that sort of thing. So I really disregarded the hype that was given me on this to begin with, and to the point that I put it on the shelf and wouldn't have anything to do with it. Now I've become excited about some of the things it'll do.
One of the cases that Dr. Wood observed was when Cy Plus was used to treat a 5-year-old Arabian mare belonging to Angelina County Farm Bureau President Hector Garcia. Garcia is a professional farrier whose thriving horseshoeing practice puts him in contact with all kinds of horse problems. When his wife's Arabian developed a softball-sized tumor in a location too dangerous to operate, he was faced with the decision of either destroying the horse or trying the experimental treatment. They chose to inject the tumor with Cy Plus.
We observed the animal for about a week or so, and all of a sudden, wherever we injected that animal, it started to break loose, and then it looked like a cauliflower coming out. And it's the weirdest thing you ever saw. It was really kind of rough looking. It was real raw looking. But it wasn't infected or anything like that at all. And the horse wasn't in any pain. It looked very painful, but the horse didn't show any pain or any sign of lameness whatsoever. Then it started, a week after that or so, it started to fall apart. And the doctor happened to, examining this tumor, and we put the animal into the vet stock, and Dr. Aspirin was touching it and fooling with it and such what like that, and it just started to come apart and just came out, and we started to have a little hole type indentation in the leg, and didn't bother any of the ligaments, any of the good tissue. And then I took the animal home, and we applied some more of that compound on the tumor. And I expected having some type of fly problem, because of open wounds and things like this. You always have some type of fly, and I expected bleeding. And didn't get any bleeding. I didn't have any problems with flies or any kind of infection whatsoever. It was just unbelievable. And I believe in probably about 4 or 5 week period, it was starting to heal up. It was quite amazing. We sold the horse. And the owner the new people who have the horse now are just tickled to death. I was a skeptic, and I guess it's nothing like having it happen to your own animal, but I saw the gentleman using this on a horse that had a fistula. And, to me, it's probably one of the worst things you can give, and a horse can pick up, contract a fistula or something like this on its withers. Generally, it's very contagious, and, the horse is ruined. And I've seen that put on that, and it removed it, and I couldn't believe that. And that was, to me, that was something. I've seen a lot of injections and medications and lots of personal care and all kinds of work, and have not seen the results in such a short time. And then they have not seen a recurrence of the same problem come back again after the treatment. I have never seen anything like it, and I've used a lot of items through the medical profession, the veterinarian profession out here, and I have never seen anything work as fast and as successful, and something that big, and seeing it work in fistulas like that also. I've been a professional farrier for 14 years, and last year I did over 2,000 horses, and I've specialized in lame horses. And to see something like this work, it's a real thrill.
The pattern Garcia describes, wherein the problem area enlarges after treatment, breaks open to drain, and then finally disappears, seems to be a healing cycle common to both animals and humans. Dr. Wood likens this to the body's natural healing cycle.
If you stick a splinter in your arm, The first thing that happens is it hurts because it's a foreign agent that goes into the skin. And what's the second thing that happens? It swells up, it turns red. You get an inflammatory response. And that inflammatory response is normal because the body's defense mechanism in the form of macrophages goes out to dissolve or to do away with the invasive agent, which in this case is a splinter. It forms pus cells. The pus cells are dead macrophages or dead white cells that invade the area, and they surround this thing. And then eventually, in the form of an abscess, it will open up, the splinter or whatever comes out, and then it quits hurting. It goes away. The redness and inflammation go away. And having had something in your hand that wouldn't open up and go away and had to be open and go away, you understand why the need for it to get to the outside. And these things are trying to push it out, and it creates the inflammatory response. That's what we think happens with this compound, is when an animal responds to it, it kicks in its mechanism and sends the white blood cells or the macrophages to the site to fight off the battle, so to speak, of the invasive agent. And that's putting it kind of down to earth terms of what I think happens to it, but by the same token, I feel that that's where the response comes from.
Dr. Wood believes the immune system bolstering medication offers great hope for the treatment of common veterinary problems. But does he think the product holds promise for treating human immune deficiency problems, such as AIDS?
You're posing a question to me that I'd have to strictly speculate on, because not being a medical doctor, not being an immunologist, I wouldn't be able to answer factually. My personal opinion is yes, most definitely.
The medical sciences products have been extremely effective in treating skin disorders in humans. Its non-surgical, topically applied formula has removed every skin cancer on which it has been applied. The severity of the cases range from Charles Brooks' hand to disfiguring skin cancers that have been eating away at Jim Bird's face for 3 years.
When I put that medicine on there, it took about 3 days. My hand just swelled up. It was about 3 times as big as it is now. And when that thing started coming out of there, breaking loose and coming out of there, my hand started going down, and that thing just fell right in. It never hurt or nothing. And that thing was open like that, and I'd work out to the dump and work in grease and all, and my hands getting nasty all the time. And that thing never got infected or anything around there when I had that medicine on my hand. And I could take, and after that thing fell out there and that just old raw flesh down in there, that peroxide, you could take it and put it all around that thing. It'd never even bubble one time.
After losing an eye to melanoma and later part of his lip to a different form of cancer, Jim Bird had avoided treatment for the cancers growing on either side of his face. His wife, Billy, describes the situation.
Oh, they were terrible. They bled all the time. Every morning I changed his pillowcase on his bed where he had bled at night. Of course, he's not a complainer, and we have 2 sons, and they were on me to get Daddy to go to the doctor, and I told him I had to give up. I couldn't get him to go, so it was their time. Nothing would do any good till Zane came back.
What happened when you put the stuff on?
Well, I put it on there 3 times, wasn't it?
Twice on each side.
And it just kept getting, outside kept getting bigger and bigger, and it would get round. And he had a little pain, not so much that he couldn't stand, I guess. And it just fell off one day. This was one right here. And this was not as bad as this one right here. You see how it filled out his face? It's just as smooth as the rest of his face. But there was a hole, I mean a huge hole on both sides. But it just went away.
Did you ever think you'd see his face that clear again?
Heavens, no. I could just see, you know, going and just cutting hunks out of it. And he could too, is the reason he wouldn't go.
That's the reason I wouldn't go to one of them doctors. It'd do me just like they did my lip. They'd cut it out and throw it away, and they might have got to some of my little senses in there and threw that away too, so I wouldn't be talking to you.
A variety of other skin